The other example is classification. Classification is also a part of machine learning. It's also a traditional method to machine learning. And classification allows us to identify important information out of data and use this for grouping or categorize these data. And machine learning models can do this quite well. And especially in the last 1 or 2 years, the development came up with really good tools to use this. And what we have did is that we classify nodes. So I want to explain it a little bit. So imagine you have service technicians or mobile workers that are working in the field outside. And they are producing a lot of nodes during the day. They're sending nodes, unstructured nodes like free text or whatever, or emails into the service department. And but the service department is not able to go through all these nodes and read them from the beginning until the end. So the essential part is to identify the really important information out of these nodes. And the classification can help to identify this essential information and then transform it into a tag or a category. Like, for example, if you have a technician that is standing in front of the door of a customer and he cannot enter to fulfill his service, you send a note that he's not able to enter and the doors are closed. So the machine learning model that is trained on examples before can help to find out that this is a node that we have to tag with a specific category, like, let's call it closed. And this in the end can trigger further actions, like that you want to call an API in the background to send something into the ERP system to improve your data. For example, if you want to change the opening hours for this customer. And yeah, we can also thinking further of throwing the ball back to the technician and use a chatbot, for example, that is triggered by this category. And we can ask the technician, okay, you are in front of the door of the technician, the customer is closed, we understand, but what are the actual opening hours of this customer? Can you tell us? This can be triggered by this category too. And this in the end can really improve the quality of your master data and prevent that you are, in this example, stand in front of a closed door next time. So this technologies that came up in the last 1 or 2 years really helped us to do this. So it's these large pre-trained models enable that we really rapidly can create prototypes for this. And you can start from the beginning and you don't need a lot of data for this. You can just start with the data that you have, label this data, and then develop this further. So this is really an interesting thing from the traditional, let's say, method of classification to be used in the field service operations.
Yes, and thank you. I'm actually looking at the classify notes that you were discussing earlier, which they just stuck on my mind for some reason, because I'm thinking that is a brilliant way of, let's say, offset a reaction that captures more data. Because as you said, if the technician stands in front of the door that is locked, you could force him or her into actually updating that data to then sit on a new accurate, data set of that specific customer's opening hours, for example, or as you mentioned, feedback loop back into the ERP with the right. So it's also a great, it's a great opportunity to get the data collection right by triggering different automated steps in these that is just based on the notes. Is that how people leverage it, or?
Yeah, it's the technician is at least the person that is out in the field, and he's standing in front of the door, so he had the best information about what's happening outside. Yeah. So why didn't we take him into account and ask him for some details?
Yeah. Exactly. He's a great source.
Yeah, he's actually our best source we have when we are going to plan field service technique. Yes,
of
Frank?
Course.
Yeah, there's one more application for this classification part, and that's when you take a look at the messages that you receive from customers. I mean, we're now looking at the technician itself, which is an example that we have dived into. But it's also, when you take a look from the customer perspective or customer service arena, then it's also very useful to be able to classify incoming messages from your customers and classify them, route them to certain teams that will particularly work on that topic that this customer has been working on. You can even extend that even further and react on an incoming message automatically 24 hours a day with a detailed sort of response. And obviously, you can't expect yet to be that perfect response to it, but we're doing our best to get that further and further as if it was coming from a customer agent, a customer service agent.
Yeah.
So classification as such is not only the notes, it's also about any sort of message coming in from all the participants within the field service operations.
And I find that very interesting what you're saying, because I think we've noticed more and more that we need kind of a service escalation system in terms of, and I don't mean an actual software now, but I mean a system in terms of our who is getting what attention. So, you know, we need to sort our service tickets, and some of the service tickets, like many of maybe even your doctor's appointment, are solved via just a brief encounter, and then, you know, off you go kind of, and you will be healthy and well with that sort of standard response to that. And then it's only, you know, the more advanced tickets that need further investigation, further escalation, and therefore also gets another trigger within the internal systems that it should go to the right, experienced service technicians. It's very interesting. And one other thing that I saw there, which I have a follow-up question, is obviously with the miscalculation of service visits or the duration of service visit. And now I'm going to take it more on a, I would say, commercial service arena then. But I know that, you know, the service level agreements and also the, let's say, the way you charge service contracts are sometimes, you know, tied into how many service hours you have, you know, the actual monetization of your service delivery. And the more accurate, of course, you can get your data set in how long it will take, the more accurate will your service revenue forecast be as well, or your quota towards your service level agreement. Is that something that you experienced as a benefit of this, to be the accuracy in itself sits way better with the terms and conditions of the SLAs?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just part of the deal that you have with your customer. And if you make a mistake in judging how long you will have to spend on that particular work, you're going to lose money or maybe spend more or expect more money for something that you could have done with less, or the other way around. So yes, it does have a strong impact on revenue. And it also has a very strong impact on the planning and the chaos level. So, and the chaos level in the end is also producing costs. So yes, it does have an immediate impact on your revenue if you are bad in your forecast. And this is where ML, machine learning, can really help to better predict what is going to happen in the future. And that will have an impact on costs in the end. Yes.
Good. And I mean, of course, these are early days in terms of maybe having that data, but I'm thinking also it might have an effect on the actual technician's performance. I'm thinking if you underestimate the time, then they might actually rush through it because they see that as some kind of KPI. I should be done within 1 hour. And then on the other hand, if they get 1 hour, but it should take 20 minutes, they might stay and drink coffee for 45 minutes.
Exactly. That's the point.
So yeah, okay. That's
right. Absolutely. That's a big issue because, if a technician is sort of stressed, that is also giving you costs. In the end, we've discussed this before, that since older technicians are now leaving the market, we need to keep up with and keep our level of staff on a certain level. So we need to attract them. And obviously, the worst thing you can do is put them into stress. So, if that helps them to have a good forecast of how their day will look like, then they will certainly appreciate that as well.